Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Norway Chess 2026, an elite tournament being held in Oslo, and Magnus Carlsen's worst tournament since 2015. Some of you were not even alive yet. Some of you act like you weren't even alive yet. That was the last time that Magnus Carlsen has started a chess tournament and lost 2 out of the first 3 games. His playing style has been very exciting to watch, but he's kind of fighting like a heavyweight fighter, which is, it's a barn burner and you could be knocked out at any point. But in this round, he is taking on Gukesh, the reigning world champion, which is a fascinating matchup, and the matchup last year which generated 500 million, if not more, views with the famous table slam clip. Now, we are staring down a situation in this tournament where if Magnus loses this game, not only is he completely and totally out of the running, he is going to be in last place by a long shot, he would have lost 3 games out of 4 to players that are much younger, and the next generation would be taking over. So Gukesh opens the game with d4, and I gotta tell you, this game does not get going very well at all. It does not get, well, it depends who you're rooting for. D4, D5, by the way, the standings are over there. Remember, every time you win in this tournament, you get 3 points. That's why the standings are a little crazy, even though we're only in the 4th round. E6, a queen's gambit declined. We have knight c3, knight f6, all very standard, very, very normal stuff. And now Gukesh plays the exchange, queen's gambit declined. This has been played all the time. Bishop g5. Black has many moves here. Generally, black goes bishop e7, c6. Bishop b4 is also a variation. We now have a counter pin, and it's kind of as if we played knight to f3 and a Ragozin variation of the queen's gambit declined, R-A-G-O-Z-I-N, in case you want to win a local trivia night. None of that really matters. After knight f3, Magnus Carlsen plays something he's never played before in his life. Ever. He thinks for 12 minutes, which has been a problem of his in this tournament. It's been the fact that he's thinking. He should stop. Just stop thinking. You get 2 hours in this format to make the first 40 moves or you lose the game on time. And after that, you only get 10 seconds extra per move. And he's squandered 2 positions late stage, almost 3 of them late stage. All right. So knight f3, Magnus goes queen d6. This is not a normal developing move. You look at this position, you ask any beginner on the planet, what should black play here? It's going to be short castle. It's going to be short castle. Some people might say h6. Some of you would take this knight. That's not an awful move. But queen d6, wow, so he unpins himself, and now he wants to play knight e4, which would put pressure on the pin piece and hit this bishop. Gukesh plays the best move, he spends a little time, knight to d2. This might be a shocking move for the uninitiated, like why? Exactly. Beginners and intermediate players, you generally don't make moves like this, but now there is no knight e4, this is giga pin protection. All right, knight to d2, Magnus plays c6 after spending another 10 minutes and 40 seconds. This is why we're going to struggle to put chess on the television, all right? It has to be in shorter format. That's why the Esports World Cup and these, like, tournaments, c6 after 10 minutes, fine. C6 prevents knight to b5, okay? So there is no knight to b5 anymore. Gukesh plays queen c2. After 16 minutes of thought to play queen c2. And Magnus plays h6. So he attacks the bishop. He wants the bishop to go backwards and so on. And now Gukesh plays a move which Magnus missed, which is a shocking thing to say because it's literally 8 moves into the game. Magnus misses that white can now play knight to b5. This is bad. Now, luckily, he hasn't messed up so bad that it's a losing mistake, but he totally missed the move knight to b5. That's what he said in the confessional booth. Knight b5 is still possible because if you take the knight, I take the bishop with a direct attack on the king, and black is getting crushed. So Magnus needs to react to this position. He spends 19 minutes and 43 seconds here on this next move. Moves the queen back to e7. The reason he spent so much time is he was looking at also queen e7 and queen d8, and you can also take the knight. That is another possibility before you do anything else, because black now forces white to either go here and lose the pin, which is bad, bring the bishop back, which is also, an improvement for black, certainly. But he goes here, and after bishop takes f6, you cannot take with the queen because there's knight c7 check. Magnus voluntarily enters a disgusting position. Doubled isolated pawns on this side, isolated pawn, doubled f pawn, h pawn, you're never going to castle. This just looks hideous. I would never play this position. And yet, it's around equal. It's not even that obvious how white is supposed to exploit this. Black has the bishop pair as well. So the knight comes back, and now Magnus goes God mode. When he activates the part of his brain and it's firing on all cylinders, he got good sleep, good air quality, drank some Scandinavian water, he knows where the pieces need to go. When I say Magnus Carlsen plays chess like Doctor Strange, it's kind of like that. He envisions down the line, where does every piece need to stand? Where is the epicenter of the position going to be? Is white going to advance here? Is white going to play more solid, develop everything very slowly? Is white going to try to expand on this side? Is black going to try to come down? How do I play this position? Because these pawns are terrible. So do I maybe move my rook here? Let's see. So he plays knight d7 and puts his knight on b6. The knight is now out of the way. The next order of business is to develop this bishop. Maybe we're going to put it here and stop white from castling. White also has several ways to develop. He develops like this. That move is immediately met with Magnus attacking this pawn. Now a difficult decision from Gukesh. He can defend this pawn with king f1 and slowly build up the position, or he can play the move g3. g3 is very solid. It's a very good move, but it grants black access to something. Magnus immediately puts the bishop here. This is an absurd move. Moves like this almost never get played. The point of this move is to prevent Gukesh from castling. He could still castle long, make no mistake. But if Magnus had gone bishop e6, the bishop would be in the way of the pieces, and white could actually castle this way. So in many ways, this is the most annoying move and forces Gukesh to decide, can he long castle? Actually, that is the top choice of the computer. Attacking the bishop is also a decent choice. And now Magnus can preserve his bishop pair, but instead of that, he actually gives it away. I would never play that move. I'd be like, all I have, I just have a symbolic bishop pair. The bishop pair, they're really good together. But actually, the bishop here, it's not doing anything. In many ways, getting rid of it, transforming the structure a little bit, is better. Gukesh now has the option to take and move the pawn forward and open up the b file, or to take with the queen. He takes like this, okay, and now Magnus moves the knight to c8, leaves the king in the middle, repositioning the knight to d6, where it will fight against both of white's central pawn expansions. Gukesh takes this moment of going backwards by Magnus and plays the move c4. Now, black has to take this pawn. This is a very important lesson in transformation of the position. This is something that people, intermediate and advanced, like below 2000, below 2100 in chess, are not good at. It's preventing you from getting to the master level. And I'm writing a book about this. I am. I'm publishing my second book October of this year, How to Win at Chess Next Level for intermediate play. But master level, people are bad at transforming positions. That's what's preventing them from getting that next step. You have to take. If you don't take, if you play a move like knight d6, this capture can leave you with a very bad weakness on d5. But actually, it's this pawn structure that leaves you gasping for oxygen. And then the attack will be relentless on this side of the board. So by taking, you force Gukesh into making some sort of move, you get the knight to d6, and by a miracle, a total miracle, not a miracle, maybe a completely calculated and very well thought out plan, Magnus Carlsen has equalized. White has done nothing wrong. He played only logically, and it's now 0-0-0. The reason is Magnus pulled down Gukesh into the, they're wrestling in the mud. And Magnus is like, I'm going to make this dirty. I got this dirty ass pawn structure. All right. I'm never moving these pawns forward. But Gukesh, you can't castle, and now you can't castle this way because we opened up the board. You're going to be stuck in the center with me. We're going to point down at the center of the ring, and we're just going to throw hands. And my money's on Magnus on that one, all right? A5, sending out a warning shot. And with Magnus, the thing you have to do during the game constantly is, what if this becomes an endgame? Are his pawns going to be better than mine? Gukesh goes here. Now Magnus plays a move. Like, if I gave you as many guesses, you would not be able to guess this next move. Now, some of you have probably seen the game. He plays the move rook to g5. Folks, when he plays chess, he makes it look effortless. The rook on g5 is going to one place. d5. Why? What is it doing there, bro? he is pressuring and trying to go pawn up with the rook support to break open the center. Magnus controls the only pawn break remaining in the center of the board. White cannot go e5. He does not control that. But the c-pawn will devastate the position potentially. The fact that his rook can go to d5 from h8 is insanity. The fact that he got this position, which just looks optically like crap, okay? This looks like garbage for black. I would be bewildered in this position with black. I would have no idea what to do. No idea. This man manages to put all his pieces on all the best squares and then plays rook g5. When I saw this, I got very worried for Gukesh. Very worried. But I also got worried for Magnus, all right? Because Magnus in this tournament has been like me. Get a really good position against a really good player and lose, okay? And he does not want to be like me. I mean, subscribers. But, you know, the chess quality, no. So bishop goes back to e2. Here comes rook c8. c5 is imminent. The opening of the position is imminent. And it's only going to benefit the guy that has the bazooka pointed at his king. He's standing at in the Oslo playing hall with an RPG, bro. Like, GTA level lobby type of thing going on over there in Oslo. He's ready to go. Gukesh now needs to find a move. He plays f3. f3 is not a bad move. It's a crazy move, but he's just going here. And actually, the king is really well insulated by the pawns. f3 is very clever. Here, the position, according to this browser, is minus 0.4, but it's actually 0. It's 0, but it's trending in the wrong direction. Gukesh plays king f2. Everything is fine. Rook d5. We have reached the climax. Not that one, of the chess game. The absolute maximum pressure is being applied to the white position. And yet, if he very bravely takes this pawn, it's not so simple. Because if this rook takes, queen b2 back, it's not very clear where the next breakthrough is for black. Like, rook to e5 attacking this pawn is possible. You can always push it. It's a little dangerous, but you can always push it. And actually, you can also play knight to b3 looking for counterplay. Now, if you take and this takes, the queen can actually go to d4 and is miraculously comfortable. And if knight f5, the queen can go to f4. And Gukesh is actually going to be firing back pretty soon. And g4 might trap the bishop in a couple moves. So Gukesh needs to go here. He doesn't do that. He transforms the position the wrong way. Instead of that, he goes pawn takes, pawn takes. And what I think Gukesh was relying on is the opening of the e-file and the control of the squares. Clearly, Gukesh was like, I don't want to activate his rook. So by putting my king here, I will now activate and counterpunch him down the center line like this. But Magnus sees everything. He knows that's coming back in his direction. So what does he do? King f8. We just get off the line. We're going to put the king on g7, where it's going to hang out with these, you know, the rejects of the pawns over here that just simply stood around the entire game. He's going to be like, what's up, boys? And then the rest of the pieces are going to go zoom around and damage the position. But still, how will you win? How will somebody win this position? Will it be tactical? Will it be a transformation to the endgame? Gukesh goes rook e1. And now the bishop, which absolutely did its job, comes back to the center and covers up the queen. Now we have rook d1. So everything is coming to the middle, and Magnus, finally the participation of the pawn to f5. Pawn to f5 wins control of e4. The knight now cannot go there. You have the distant idea to play f4, trying to soften up the king over here, and also h5, h4. Suddenly those bozo pawns are participating in the game. Meanwhile, Gukesh has done everything in his power to defend the position, but where's the counterattack? Knight f1. Actually, the counterattack here needed to be f4. He needed to completely give away e4, but go for f4 and then some sort of bishop move, but he allows f4, and now he's in dire trouble. The knight cannot re-enter the game. The pawn cannot take. You can't take, you can't push. This is just there to be kind of like a just pointing the finger and laughing at the white position, but you can't actually do anything about it. Rook h5 is incoming at a moment's notice. Gukesh plays bishop d3, very good move, fighting for a lot of squares over here. Magnus needs to apply the next level of pressure, queen f6. Unpinning, defending, and attacking d4. The only move for white, rook e5. You have to bring the rook directly into the center to cut the communications. Gukesh doesn't play the move. Rook e5 was the only move that just plopping the rook directly in the middle of the board, everything defending, cutting the lines, but he goes bishop e4, and after rook to b5, The avalanche on the B and C files is a major problem. The queen has to go to the middle. Bishop b3, messing with the coordination of the white position. You have to move the rook. You're going to lose the rook. And when I move the rook, check out this transformation. He takes. And now a very difficult decision. Do you take with the rook and allow the center to be opened? FG, attack. Or do you take with the queen and lose your pawn? Whichever one you take with, there's a problem. Rook b5, bishop b3, every single piece Magnus is using is on the actual optimal square. This man is a demon. He's a demon in chess. Okay? Gukesh ends up taking like this. He loses a pawn with check, and he has 3 minutes to defend the position or he's going to lose on time. All Magnus does here, retreats the bishop, gets out of the way because he activates the rook onto b2. Every move that he plays is a thudding punch to the other person. When there is a fight and, you know, they're all throwing at the head and blocking at the head, the shot that wins the fight is the body shot, all right? Not that you need a demonstration of this, but basically when you fight against Magnus, you're covering, you're doing this, and he rotates and just absolutely bombs a shot right here, solar plexus, liver, and it crumbles you. And that is what you are about to see in the remainder of this game. Bishop to e6, rook b2 is incoming. Don't forget, every endgame transformation will leave us with a 2-on-1 or a 2-on-0. So we have this move, queen takes f4, rook b2, king here. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is the conclusion of the game. The rook is hanging, but more importantly, mate. And the only way that you can survive this, by the way, he sacrificed the knight with the check. The only way you can survive this move is to give a check and sacrifice your queen. The queen has no option except to sacrifice itself for the rook, because if you had gone queen c7, who else would you think would protect the king? The king is completely safe. And this mate is unstoppable. Now you would lose a terrible amount of material, and then you would get mated anyway. Magnus Carlsen is up a queen. I'm gonna say it right now. This was one of the most impressive games he has ever played. To navigate that position, this game is an example of a video that I would have just made like at any given moment over my last 6 years of making content. All right? Like, he takes the pawn, he loses a pawn with check, it doesn't matter. Why is this winning for white? A queen beats a rook in another piece. A queen usually beats a rook and a knight very easily in certain situations, and one of those situations is outside pass pawn. Like, if you have a queen and an outside pass pawn, pawn's just going, your enemy pieces just can't keep up. There's nothing they can do. Gukesh doesn't even wait. a4, he just resigns. Because Magnus's next few moves are literally just getting the queen out of the way and promoting this pawn. It can go to a3 and a2 and a1. Every single square is protected. This knight's not doing anything. The bishop is just standing there. King's happy. Every check is going to get closer to, to help the queen. Magnus wins. Dominant, absolutely ruthless game. It looks like he has won every game of the tournament. He started horribly, and to bounce back like this against the world champ, I mean, I got nothing else to say, bro. Like, this game was unfathomably good. It was so good. And you know what's the worst part about Norway chess? The worst part is that now I have to cover some games that were ridiculous. All right, I gotta cover Armageddons. I mean, look at the next couple of games I'm gonna show you. Wesley, so Ali Reza Firouzja. Firouzja played a couple of fantastic games. Wesley in this game, also Queen's Gambit declined. We got a line here. He plays very aggressive. F3, G4. Look at this. I mean, bro. F3, G4, King F2. Incredible, right? Like, what is this cutting edge idea? It's like they're not even playing chess. They're playing some territorial game. You got like H4 incoming, and white is going to go here and here. It actually is very rich. Ali Reza plays Queen E7 and ends up long castling. Opposite side castling, and a Queen's Gambit declined. Like, Knight G3, Wesley's gonna find a way to play Rook C1, B4, B5, go take his head off. Ali Reza's gonna do the same. Or, how about this? We're just gonna trade the bishops, and then we're just gonna trade some rooks, and then in a couple of moves, we're going to maybe trade the queens as well, and then we're just gonna make a draw. I mean, I'm not blaming the players. Sometimes that is actually the way that you can play. But as a spectator, this is tremendously disappointing. Like, this is not a position I would expect in 15 moves to be a draw. And in 15 moves, this is the position. Draw. Sucks. I mean, I wish they just went for it, but yeah. Now, Armageddon. Armageddon was also was a little bit more crazy. Remember, in the Armageddon in Norway chess, white has 10 minutes, black has 7. If the game ends in a draw, then it's a win for black. This one, Queen's Gambit declined, took a very different turn than the other one. Wesley playing very well early on, transforming the position correctly. Again, that one skill, transformations. Ali Reza being stopped at the gates, can't really do anything. Big weaknesses for black. Typical Wesley So position. He's going to keep applying pressure. He's going to find his way. Rook d2. Ali Reza does not have a lot of time. 1:26 on the clock. And now we go for a roller coaster ride. In this position, Queen a3 was winning for white, but typical Armageddon business. Now we're going to try to look at these bishops protecting the king. Ali Reza here completely lost, and then Wesley does not convert this position correctly at all. Again, Armageddon, tons of mistakes are happening. He's winning. Ali Reza ends up getting back into the game, like actually setting up a good defense, and here he needed to just stay patient. He takes the pawn, and now he will lose. Now he will lose because here comes the final mistake. And the game is over because you just win with white. You win, you take this pawn, you promote, and the reason I'm going through the Armageddon quickly is because it's not really chess. Like, if you don't believe me, I'm about to show you. It's not. This was the classical game between Vincent Keimer and Prague. It was anything except boring. Like, it was anything except, like, it deserves all the praise in the world. A6, B5 from Prague. Some sort of wing gambit type of thing to deflect the knight away from the center of the board. Like, super rich opening idea from the Indian phenom. Vincent jumps the knight in, grabs the bishop to get the bishop pair. We begin a long and gritty maneuvering game. The center is opening up. You can go d4 here and blow it up, and Vincent does that because he's obviously trusting himself. Now white is going to have the bishop pair. Black is going to have terrible weaknesses. Bishop a3 looks like it's just going to take the pawn on d6. Now he does that. Rook is going to come to the middle. I mean, the position looks like it's on the verge of complete collapse for black, but Prague is defending, and Vincent is applying the pressure. And Prague is, of course, going to get low on time because he always gets low on time, but not to be denied because Vincent is also going to get low on time. D5 is a mistake. Now bishop b2 is very good because you're threatening to always reposition the bishop to a better diagonal. Vincent doesn't play it, and not only does Vincent not play it, in the ensuing phase of the game, Vincent loses his passed pawn and is just worse. So Vincent clearly shook by the counterplay that Prague drops on the board, and as always, every Norway chess game will be decided in this crazy time scramble. Prague is now his biggest advantage of the game. He can go d3. He doesn't go d3 for some reason. Now he can't go d3 because he would be blundering his queen on the same diagonal. So now he has to find a way to go d3. He can't go d3 because he's pinned. So because he kind of self-freezes the position, they straight up just make a draw. So in this, right here, after going queen to c3, he self-pinned himself with the idea to play queen e3 and so on. But after this move, there's nothing you can do. Because if you go here to try to get out of this, I have rook e2. And you go here, I just go back. Actually, bishop h3 is even winning for white, which is incredible because you have the fork. Crazy. So, a very, very complicated game, which is now going to be settled in an Armageddon, which is over in 3 seconds because we get some reverse. This is kind of a Grunfeld invitation by black, very sharp line, and Vincent Keimer does not get anything from the opening. Remember, white starts with 3 extra minutes. And from the opening, he already does not have... He's down 40 seconds, which is bad. But still, you have a game, right? Of course, you have a game. And then he spends a bit of time, goes rook c2, and loses the game on the spot. Rook c2 allows knight to d4 check. And you would think, why did Vincent resign in this position? He can just take. Yeah, then he would be pinned. And if you are wondering, did Vincent Keimer actually lose a game like this? Yes. Yes, he did. Armageddon is not chess. It's just not. It's very exciting. But this year in particular, I feel like the Armageddon games, somebody can fact check this, but this year the Armageddon games in this tournament have been horrendous. And I'm not insulting the players. I would have lost all of them and probably crap my pants at the same time. But I feel like historically the Armageddon games have been better. The classical games, I mean, the games have been wild in the Armageddon. And it's great as a fan. It's great for us because we get to sit there going, that's how I play. Now, we will take a look at the standings in a moment. On the women's side, Bibisara is in first place. Divia's right there. It's very, very close. I think there has only been 1 win or 2 in classical chess on the women's side. So we have Bibisara, Ju and June, a Queen's Gambit exchange variation. We have seen this quite a bit at this point. Slightly different flavor. By the way, isolated pawn position. We saw this type of isolated pawn position played a lot in the candidates tournament. In the game, this was traded off. And Bibisara had a nice advantage here. Probably, actually, she even built it up a little bit. Rook c1, queen a5, rook e1. White has 5 pieces playing and black has 2. That's generally bad. And here, white has a chance to get a very big advantage but it's very, very difficult to see. White here can play bishop c2, which is the move in the game. And then after, for example, queen b4, the move g4 for white. So it should be in a book, this concept. Just stopping anything from going to f5. And if bishop e6, now mate is unstoppable because nothing can block the diagonal. So bishop c2 sets up queen d3, but you can never really play it. And even here, g4 is the top move of the engine. g4 is incredible. This concept, bishop c2, g4, should really be in a book. Instead, Bibisara is like, well, she's kind of pressuring, so I should go here. And immediately, black is able to activate the rooks. And almost like Magnus, like defending the position with the only resources that you have. The 28th move of the game, black activates the piece, and now it's just equal. So that was Bibisara's one moment of this game. She could have played g4, which is such a fascinating move. It's so rare that you push a pawn like that in front of your king, 2 squares. You are not attacking anybody. You are not attacking a piece. You are simply controlling a square on a diagonal to the king. I've never seen that before. Never seen a move like g4 in my life. Very fascinating. Maybe she even considered it. I have no idea. Maybe she considered it, was like, that looks stupid. Something's probably wrong with it. Because it breaks everything you know about the game. Like g4, you think f5. White's winning. Rook e7. +3. Incredible. In the game, once Ju and Jun got all her pieces on the board and active, she actually played g5 herself. But you see, she played g5, but she was attacking something very different. Then she got back in the game. Finally, Bibisara went g4, but this is just a draw. Just a draw. Same position, same pieces, same pawns. And so we go to Armageddon, which, as always, is going to be chaos. Queens, this is a Queen's Indian. I've played this line myself. It's a gambit. Alpha Zero also played this a lot. Very sharp line. Completely holdable by black, but not in this time control. Just not in an Armageddon when you have 4 minutes versus 7, no bonus time. It is so difficult to play defense in general. It is also really difficult to play defense when you're being attacked. Sorry. It is also so difficult to play defense when you're being attacked and you have 3 minutes and no bonus time, right? So you're just being, you got no time. You have no time to think through all the defense. Ju and Jun loses the exchange, and then she gets mated. She just gets completely checkmated with rook g8 and queen h5, queen h3, and that's it. That is mate on the board against the defending world champion. This is a battle of world champions. World Blitz champion versus world classical champion. And dare I say, in Armageddon, it is better to be the world Blitz champion. In this format, it is better to be the champion of the fast play, not the slow one, right? And it goes to show, right, in the classical game, the world champion of the slower chess got out, and white missed her chance. Divya versus Anna Musachuk. A Vienna once again from Divya, although this time she doesn't play d3, g4, h4, f4, like she did in the previous game. This is still the Gotham course! Dang. We saw Gukesh beat Vincent Keimer by playing knight e2. But in this game, we get this line. Black takes with the dark squared bishop, puts out the pieces. Nice idea here with the bishops, potentially putting some pressure on the black position. This is a bad transformation. It simply allows white a huge amount of stability. She was banking on this move d5, but bishop b2 is really, really strong. And the idea is that after this, you don't take, you go c4. Black is in a lot of trouble now, because the threat is simply rook, bishop takes f6. In fact, in some positions, it could be rook takes f6. But yes, bishop takes f6, and you are just losing here with black. Queen here. Sorry. You have to give a check. You have to give a check, not queen h5. You have to give a check. And then when the king moves, let's say here, you go check, and if king g7, you have this check, and then you go there. King h8, queen h5 here, rook h4. It's a slow process, but you get there in the end. You cannot play queen h5 off the bat. So Divya has an amazing position from the opening. The Vienna is working wonders. Knight e4, take, knight back to e6. And now she gotta play like Gotham, bro. She just gotta go ooga booga chess, queen h5, rook, like caveman chess, you know? Ooh, fire, ooh, queen h5, rook f1, bring all the pieces. She go, no. Queen e1 is the professional move, but you gotta, queen g3, fine. Now you bring the bishop and the rook. I mean, she also has a pawn diamond, which is incredible over here. Her position looks completely stellar. She's putting pressure. It's like plus 1.5. And then she kind of loses her step, like h4 was the right idea. She doesn't play h4. Black gets a little bit of time, just like Ju and Jun did. And before you know it, you transform wrong. This is a bad transformation for white now. She keeps attacking, but there's no attack. There's no attack. Black is actually safe. Not only is Black safe, Black could actually run over here. Like, that is how good the position is for Black. And she sacrifices for the 2 pieces, but there's nothing here. The queen is not going to beat the rooks. And the game will end in a draw by repetition pretty soon. And there it is. And the players make a draw after some 60 moves. Divya is going to be very unhappy because she's gotten some great positions. And now we have Armageddon again. Armageddon is, as always, going to make a fool out of everybody. Great position from Anna Muzichuk. Complete dominance of the center of the board. White is just worse. It's kind of rare. White can be worse from the opening, but Black has more space. And White has nothing to show for it. White is just very, very chill here, very comfortable. We get a threat of a repetition. No repetition at the end of the day. Now Black is like winning. C takes B3. She takes with a knight. And ultimately, yeah, Muzichuk is, you know, one thing Divya is doing is she's playing very fast, which is actually very good. You will get a lot of chances in Armageddon to attack your opponent. But you just, yeah, there's just nothing. And she tries and tries and tries and tries. And then she hung her queen or something. Divya gave a discover check and blundered her queen? Okay, all right. I said, what? And that brings me to my last game of the day. Humpy Conneru versus Drujin. Queen's Gambit exchange. By the way, you see this time, we see this. Magnus played Bishop B4. That was the move that he chose. In this game, we get a slightly different version where the knight repositions to D6, the rook goes to 8, and the bishop goes to F8. White still has this idea to expand with E4, and that's very normal in Queen's Gambit positions. Or you will play H3, and there's some mysterious like move orders. You can move the bishop and then try to get the knight out. Sometimes you go for minority attack. You have a minority of pawns on this side of the board. A5 prevents that, and it's quite clear that, okay, Humpy is preparing something. She's not touching the pawns. There it is. She's going something with the pawns. Bishop F2, E4. But Black is very happy here to chop down the position, get the bishop pair like Magnus. Drujin has been very, very good in this tournament. Very strong classical play. And yeah, I mean, Humpy goes aggressive, wins a pawn, but it's just not good enough because Black's defenses are very strong. Very strong here. And this is just going to be a draw. Queen opposite colored bishops. It was a very rich position, but unfortunately, that's the only compliment I can give. You have opposite colored bishops, mutually assured destruction, and that's going to bring us to one more Armageddon game. Usually the women's section is tons of more decisive chess. Another Armageddon game here, where the quality was crazy. Rook G1, you will never in a bajillion years see Humpy Conneru playing Rook G1, G4, G5, but in Armageddon, it makes us all wild. It's like putting all the players in a room and starving them. They will get feral. G4, G5, Knight to C3, forcing Black into also playing dynamic chess. But the problem is, when you force a player into a dynamic situation, you know, oftentimes they live up to the task because it's it's their life that's at stake. G6, everything holding together here. Humpy has to go H4, H5. She does. Rook F7. I would go H5 without even thinking. B4 is actually a good move, but H5 you also had there. Excellent move. They're attacking you on the sides of the board. You strike back in the center. That is how you should play chess. The center will now open up, and you're not going to attack anybody with an open king. It's not going to happen. Long castle by Humpy. Incredible. A5. Humpy's down on time. Started the game with 3 extra minutes. Bishop takes A3 is nasty. Queen takes D4. Suddenly, it is Drujin who's calling the shots. Humpy has 140 on the clock. And the counterplay is vicious, and it is swift, and Black wins. I feel like Black won every Armageddon. Black won here, Black won here. Here, White won. Yeah, she checkmated in this position. Yeah, here Black won as well. It's hard. It's just hard. Let's take a look at the standings. We have Alireza Firouzja 8.5 and then Prague with 6. And then Magnus no longer in last place. That's the nature of this tournament. Magnus versus Wesley. He gets a win. He's back in the running for second place. Now it's Gukesh in last, but it doesn't matter, right? It's all a big mess. Bibisara is still winning the tournament, but 3 people have 5.5. So, you know, tomorrow is a rest day. There are no games tomorrow. that is all I have for you today. I hope you enjoy. You know where to find me if you want more content. Chesley Europe tour later this year. My second book drops October 6th. You can pre-order it right now. Be a huge help. And that's all. Get out of here.